So in this video, what I'm gonna be doing is just showing kind of how I did this little look. It's nothing complicated. It's super cute. It's like a Dia de los Muertos kind of look, and I got these little butterflies. I got my little crown, and yeah, so if you want to see how I did it, just keep watching and I'll show you how I did it. So I hope I'm in frame good. I know this is a weird setup. It's like a little different from what I've done. I think this is good. Anyways, let me start off by pulling my hair back. So I think I already explained it, but I'm gonna be telling a little story about something. I think it's like my first ghost story ever. Whatever you want to call it. So what I'm doing, I kind of will show you what I'm using, but it's kind of just like everything in one. So I'm just using like this e.l.f. primer thing, and I'm gonna be putting it on my face. I like it, but the thing is it dries so fast that it like gets tacky. Like look, it already kind of dried, but it does work really well, so I need to use like a good amount of it. If you have any tricks on how to like get this to not get tacky, or is it just like that? Like, I don't know, if you know. Or if you know a good primer, that'd be good too. I'm gonna just start off by putting my base on. So I'm kind of gonna make it like ghostly white a little bit, but I don't want it too white. I don't want it to be like, ugh. I just want it to be like a little bit like white cast. But before then, I'm gonna glue down my eyebrows. So basically this story, let me start off with the story actually before I forget. So this story happened when I was, I want to say 8 or 9 years old. I was like pretty young, and it happened like around summertime. So around summertime, when I was like that young, me and like my cousins and stuff, we would stay with our grandma, and we would like just stay with her in her place, and we would just be like, you know, because our parents worked. So sometimes we would stay at night at our family's house, and we'd come in the morning and we'd be with her like all day basically in the summer. Or sometimes we would stay the night at her place. And this time, I think for this week, we were staying the night over there because our cousins would stay with us too. And we would play like video games, we would play Mario Kart like all night. And then like wake up late, go swimming, do all the fun kid stuff. I'm gonna let this dry. I've never had anything like this happen before there. And since then, I haven't had anything to this extent happen there before. My grandma, she lived in like well, she still does, in like a trailer home. And I don't know if there's anything, you know, what the history is of that whole place or whatever. I don't think her trailer home's that old. But, you know, sometimes we would see little weird things, or we would hear weird things, and we would just kind of ignore it. I remember my sister would sometimes hear things or something, or all of us would. We just kind of ignore it. Sorry if this sucks. I just saw myself in the viewfinder. It kind of looks weird, but trust the process. Anyways, I remember this day pretty well. I remember that my grandma made us like some soup, and then she made us like some meat with it, and I remember thinking it was super good and I loved it and everything. And you know, we ate that for dinner. I remember that we also played video games that night as well. I think we played a different game. I think because we usually played Mario Kart, but this time we played like a different game. I remember that. And it was pretty chill, it was pretty fun. I remember we would try to sleep late, but my grandma, she would get mad at us because obviously like we're children, we couldn't be sleeping late. Even, I mean, she would let us sleep late, but not extremely late. Especially us girls, she didn't really let us sleep super late. So what I'm doing is I'm blending with a little blender brush. I'm just kind of blending it in because I kind of want just like a white cast. I don't want like, you know, completely white. So anyways, you know, we were just playing video games like kids, and you know, we were there, whatever. My grandma was like, I think at that time I was already like 11 or something. And my grandma was like, hey, are you guys gonna go to sleep like soon or whatever? Because she didn't like us being awake when she was asleep or trying to go to sleep, because then I think she thought we were gonna be like doing something or like getting into trouble, or I don't know, sneak out or something dumb. I don't know. But I remember this time, like, she was like, hey, like, are you guys gonna go to sleep? Like, I don't know what. I think the next day my mom was gonna pick us up because she didn't work or something, or she worked half day. She was gonna pick us up and take us to like a doctor's appointment or something, so we needed to sleep early. And I remember that, you know, we were gonna get ready to go to sleep. We stayed up longer playing video games because I remember she told us to go to sleep and she put us down to go to sleep. But we did not listen, and should have listened. I'm using like this palette that I got from Amazon. Let me show you. It's pretty and it does work for some things. Athena painting palette. I mean, it's all right. I would give it like a 6 out of 10. But, or maybe I'm not using it right here, whatever. So anyways, we're gonna go to sleep that night. We were getting ready to go to bed and everything. And sorry, sometimes I can't talk and do this at the same time. Ooh, this is perfect. Okay, the perfect white cast. We're getting ready to go to bed and everything, and we stayed up a little later playing video games and just chilling there, talking, and all that. And I remember my grandma would have the girls sleep in one room and the boys sleep in another. Let me kind of explain to you the layout of this place, because it is vital to the story. I feel like I look whiter on the freaking camera than I do in real life, or maybe that's like just me. Like on this, I look ghostly. That's what I'm trying to go for. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so anyways, so the layout of her trailer home, it's kind of like a rectangle. I feel like most trailer homes have this layout. So it's kind of like rectangular, and there's one side with one room and a bathroom, and then the other side had another room, and then one bathroom and a separate room off to the side. And the middle of the trailer home was like the living room. Right here next to this other room was the kitchen and dining room, and that's really it. It was a pretty small place now that I think about it. But it was not that big. You know, the layout was like that, and where she would put the girls to sleep, us, me, my sister, and my cousin, would be on the big side with the restroom. And then the boys would sleep on the other side at the room near her. I guess she did that to kind of hear them, because they would get in a lot of trouble. Like, they would always be like playing, jumping fences, getting stuck on fences and stuff like that. So maybe that's why she put them there. She trusted us a little more or something. So anyways, I never really got up at night, or I never really like did, you know, walked around or did anything. We usually just slept and then we just woke up the next day. I think that is a perfect base for what I'm trying to do. Perfect. Let me start on my eyes. So I never really got up. I'm still a pretty heavy sleeper. But this night, like, I remember we went to bed after my grandma, you know, put us to bed. We took like a little while to go to bed and everything like that. And hold on. I'm going to draw these circles off camera just because I cannot focus. Let me just do that real quick. So I'm kind of just following the shape of my eyebrow. I'm using my eyebrow as a guide. And then I'm kind of just going left. That looks good. Anyways. So let me fill this in and talk to you guys and tell you guys the rest of the story. So basically, this night, you know, we went to sleep, whatever. We went to sleep pretty late, whatever. But I remember I just woke up and like, I don't know why I woke up. I was just like awake and I felt kind of like a little bit sick. I felt like just a little bit sick and I was like, oh, like I feel like I need to like throw up or something. Or I don't know what, and I still am like a big baby when I need to throw up. Like, you know, like I always cry when I throw up. Even now, like, even as a full-grown adult, I cry when I throw up sometimes. I'm gonna admit that. So this time I remember that I needed to throw up so bad, or I felt like I needed to throw up, and I was like, I went to the restroom and I just sat there for a little while, and I like, my stomach was in pain and everything was in pain and I was just not having a good time. And I was like, oh, like, I'm scared. Let me go get my grandma and, you know, like tell her that I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Cause my mom, usually what my mom would do, oh my God, I look horrendous. Sorry to look bad. And that's what I'm saying, sorry to cut off from the story, but this is like so, like this makeup palette thing is alright, but I don't know if I'm using it right or not. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna fill it in with like powder now, but you know, it just looks weird. I don't know, it just looks a little odd. And you know, I had to do a little bit of that off camera because it was just not staying, but I'm gonna put some powder on it so that way it kind of looks more matte for now. Because look at that, looks so much better. Once I put powder on, it looks crazy. So anyways, let me go back to my story. So this time, you know, my stomach was hurting and I was feeling like I was gonna die. So I was like, let me go get my grandma. Like, you know, maybe she can give me something or, you know, do this. And it, you know, like I said earlier, I wouldn't rarely get up at night, especially there. But I remember I did once a long time ago, but it wasn't at my grandma's house. It was like at my cousin's house that my grandma was staying at. And I did the same thing. I felt like sick or something. And I woke her up and she literally just gave me like a tea and, you know, like some crackers or something. And then I just went back to sleep instantly. So I remember thinking like, oh, let me wake up my grandma. Like, she don't know what to do. Like, I'm so scared. I'm gonna die. So I went, you know, I got out and I just see my grandma likes to turn off all the lights. That grandma. So my mom's mom will leave like a little light on, but my dad's mom loves to like leave everything in pitch black just because I feel like she thinks like, oh, then she'll waste like, you know, energy or whatever. But she didn't like using night lights, so there was never any night lights in that trailer home. So I remember I opened the door and it was pitch black, like it was so dark. But I could, in the kitchen, but I could see in the living room, there was like some light coming in from the screen door. She would kind of leave it open a little bit, but it was still locked. So I remember I saw light coming from there, so I can kind of see how to get to her room. So what I did was like, I just walked out and then I, you know, get to that area. So what I did was like, so like how I explained that other room was over here. Her room's all the way in the corner over here. So, and then kind of here where my nose is like that screen door. So I went walking from here and then I reached kind of near the screen door and I kind of stopped because I felt like it felt weird. And then, oh my, like, regardless of what you believe or whatever, this was scary and I have no idea how to explain it at all. You know, like, I say I believe in ghosts and all that, but this is something that even now, sometimes I'm like, what did I just see? You know, like it had me questioning everything. I was like, what the hell was that? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Let me fix my nose. So I fixed my nose a little because I had to look up what a skeleton nose looked like. And what I was doing earlier was not a freaking skeleton nose or whatever. I walk kind of near that area and I stop because I feel kind of weird. And I remember feeling like super like off. And when I looked like near her, because I kind of looked at her bedroom and she had the bathroom door that's in between the two rooms open. And like, I guess somebody had gone in recently or something because the shower light was on. So you can kind of see like some light coming out. And I remember looking and I see like somebody on the floor. And I was like, what the hell? Because this person was like literally like hunched over, like kind of in the fetal position on the floor. So, I mean, the first thing I think of is like, oh, is that my cousin? Like, you know, my cousins, they do like to like joke around a lot. And they would do something like that where they would just like lay on the floor. So it's not really off on their character to like just lay on the floor and just scare me or something or scare somebody. So my instant reaction was like, oh, it's my cousin. And like, you know, I look up and I'm like, oh, but I'm still kind of scared because I feel like he's gonna pop up and scare me or something. The whatever's on the floor kind of, cause like I remember what it like kind of looked like in the fetal position. It looked like just somebody without hair, like if they had a blanket over them or something. So I thought it was one of them, because my cousin does sleepwalk too. So I thought, oh, it's him. And I remember walking up. I'm sorry, it's because it's kind of like scary to talk about. Like, and it's at night right now, so I'm like, what if that thing pops up again? So I kind of start walking near it, and all of a sudden, like not even like instantly, the thing just pops up. Like kind of just looks up at me, but like unnaturally, because it's in the fetal position, the back is facing me, but somehow the head turns around and looks at me. And I remember being like, what the hell? And I remember just staying frozen. And like, I remember the face on this was so weird. Like, it was like almost like alien-like. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like a generic face. Like, just all I saw were eyes that it like there was no character to it. That's the thing. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just a generic face that had like, I remember its eyelashes. I remember it had like eyelashes and stuff. I could see that. Its eyes just looked black, like kind of like, I mean, like mine, except I couldn't see like a pupil. It just looked like black, like, oh, the whites and just black. I remember that. Its lips were just like small. It had like kind of a nose, like a human nose. And I was like, I just froze. I remember being like, what the hell? Because I mean, I'm like a 9-year-old little girl. I mean, I wasn't that little. I was pretty big for like a 9-year-old, 9 or 10-year-old. But I was like, what the hell? Like, you know, what if it's somebody? Or what if, I don't know, who's that? Like, it did not look like my cousin, like, at all. So I remember I was like, just standing there, I was looking at it, and like, that thing, like, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know, like, should I turn around and walk back? Or should I just keep walking forward? Like, what do I do? Or do I run outside? Like, that would have been worse. And then all of a sudden I hear like, Alex. I hear like a man say, Alex. And I'm like, so I like turn around and there's a man sitting at the dining table in the back of me, like towards the back of me. And this man is just saying, Alex. And he tells me, he goes like this. He's like, you know, like, come over here. And then I was like, oh shoot, like I didn't even think. I remember it went like fast. Like I saw the thing, and then I was there standing. It felt like an hour, and then all of a sudden it said Alex. And then I didn't even think. I just turned around and walked back. And I remember like, you know, walking towards the man, because the man like didn't feel scary. Like it just felt like, oh, like you know, like a parent or something. So I like walk up to him and I stand right next to him, and he's like drinking a coffee, he's there sitting on the dining table and he's drinking a coffee. And I was like standing there next to him and he tells me, he's like, why are you awake? Like, you know, what are you doing? And then I was like, but in Spanish. And I was like, no sé. And I don't know what, like, just saying that. And he was like, he told me in Spanish, like, go to sleep. Like, go back to sleep. And then I was like, okay. And he, like, I tried to, like, look at the thing to see. I tried to, like, peek back. And he told me, like, no. And then I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, whatever. So then, like, so the door to the room with the restroom and all that is over here. So I just turn my ass back around and I go inside the room. And when I go inside the room, I when I go inside the room, I sit on the bed, and so the bed arrangement was my cousin, and then my sister was in the middle, and then me on the edge. So what I did was I moved, my sister's a heavy sleeper, so I moved her to the edge and I slept in the middle of them. And I kind of like went like this over my cousin and kind of laid my head on her like shoulder. And I was kind of just like seeing, like, you know, because I was hearing footsteps, and it was like if somebody turned on the light and they were walking around back and forth, like in the dining room. And I was like, what the, like, I didn't know what happened. Like, I don't know, this man just here told me to go to sleep. I saw something weird, like, and I was awake. I remember being awake because I remember I couldn't sleep. So what I did was I got my Nintendo DS and I like took it with me. I sat up on the bed in the middle of my cousin and my sister, and I started like playing, but with the volume off and the brightness, like however low I can make it, just to like get my mind off it. And because I felt like somebody was out there, and I thought maybe my grandma was awake, or maybe I don't know what, like what's going on. I did not know. So it's looking good so far. I think I'm gonna put some color. I don't know if I should put color in between, or should I just leave it like that? I don't know how elaborate I should make it. I know I want to do like a red lip. So let me kind of clean my stuff and I'll be right back. So I decided I don't think I'm gonna do much like in the middle. I think what the most I'm gonna do is probably put some like silver. Like kind of in, oh my God, what's going on out there? I hear like a bunch of banging. I know my boyfriend's doing something. He's like making something, so it's probably him. So anyways, so I'm sitting there scared, but I'm like kind of like falling, you know, I feel a little better because I know somebody's out there or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, so I'm falling asleep, and then I remember turning off my DS. I do not remember what time it was. Like, I honestly, I can't, like, I didn't check I don't think I checked the time. I know on the DS it had the time, I think, but I mean, I was like 9 or 10. I don't know. I'm not gonna check the freaking time. So, you know, that happens. And the next morning, I remember I woke up a little later than normal, because I remember when I woke up, my sister, everybody was like in, you know, down in the living room area, and I think they had just woken up and were eating breakfast, and my grandma didn't wake me up. So I remember that my sister was there and my cousins were there. I'm gonna make it darker. My sister was there, my cousins were there. My aunt had gotten there, and I remember they were all just there, like in the living room area watching Iron Man. And I just sat, you know, I ate breakfast. Well, because right when I woke up that morning, I remember my grandma just immediately gave me breakfast. And then she was like, are you okay? Like, you know, because I usually didn't wake up that late. I would wake up like, we would wake up, even though we would sleep late, we would wake up kind of early because we want to play and, you know, play and go outside and swim and do all that stuff. So I remember that she was like asking if I was alright, if I was okay. I was like, yeah. I'm like, I'm okay. I told her my stomach hurt that night. I remember telling her like, oh, my stomach was hurting, and she was like, oh, okay. She's like, all right, like, cause my mom was gonna pick us up soon. Anyway, so she was like, okay, like, I'll just tell your mom or whatever. And I remember that I was sitting there. I remember not like that at that time. I was sitting there on the kitchen table. Oh, this is red. I don't know if I like the red color. I mean, I like it, but I want it more darker. It's kind of starting to get darker. That's a pretty color. I like that. Okay, we're gonna stick with that. It's kind of hot, so I'm a little sweaty. I guess there's no airflow here. I'm gonna do this real quick. And I am no makeup artist. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just doing whatever feels right. Does it look too chola? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a chola. Shout out to all my cholas out there. And I'm gonna blend it out here because I don't like that dark line. Kind of blend it. Kind of like that. Kind of like that. I like how it's like different. I still think I'm gonna do lines, of course, like the little. Sorry if I'm like blocking it. I'm just trying to focus on this. It doesn't look too bad. This is like one of the few times I've ever done this, so I kind of like it. Does that look okay? I was thinking of doing like the Beetlejuice kind of lips, but I don't know if I want to do that after all. I don't know. Honestly, like I just came up with like this inspo from like a bunch of photos off like Google. It's whatever, it's my Halloween look. I kind of like that. Like it's kind of eating. Anyway. I kind of do this like little swirl thingy here. This will make me look like I have a mustache. I look like I have a mustache. Let me do that. Let me do little. I kind of like that. Anyways, so the next morning, I get up, I eat my breakfast, and I remember like looking around because I thought like, oh, maybe I was dreaming or something, or I have no idea what I thought. Honestly, I was just like scared, but who knows what that was. So I remember looking at the fridge, and I had seen, so my grandma had always had this photo on the fridge, and I never really paid attention to it, and she didn't really tell us about it until this, well, not until this time, but She never really said anything about the photo or what it was or who it was or, you know, anything like that. So I just kind of like left it at that end. I remember that, I'm gonna draw like a little heart here. You know, I saw this photo that my grandma had on the fridge and I was like, hey, this time I was like, hey, that looks familiar. Like, who is that? So I just like left it at that. And I was like, I don't know who that is or whatever. And I was like, but they look familiar to me. Like I recognize them. And like, I was like thinking about it, I remember then. And even like now I was like, oh yeah, like that guy does look exactly like the guy in the photo. And I was like, I don't know who that guy in the photo is, but I think I saw him yesterday. And I didn't think, or I think maybe I dreamed about seeing him, or maybe he's like somebody I've seen before. So I remember being like, oh, okay, like maybe he was here last night, or he like, I don't know, he's like a family member. Cause I mean, if you're Hispanic, you have family members that you don't even know are family members. And like when you meet, they'll be like, remember I changed your diapers, or I don't know, or they'll be like, they'll just act like, you know, they've known you your whole life or whatever. So I remember, I think it's like in all cultures that do that, honestly. So I'm gonna put on some rhinestones. Hopefully they don't look weird, but I saw this, so I saw that photo and I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really say anything to anybody then, and I didn't tell anybody about anything. And I remember my dad came to pick us up that time. My mom was supposed to pick us up, but my dad did. And I remember like he was there eating with us. He brought lunch for everybody. And I remember I asked him, I was like, hey, who's that guy in the photo? Like, who's that? Like, just out of curiosity, like I was asking him that as a kid. And he was like, oh, that's my brother. That was my brother. He died when we were like a while ago. He died. And I remember my dad told me he died from a heart attack. Like, you know, he died like from a heart attack and all that. And we were like, oh my God, like that's so sad. And I don't know what, we were like, do you miss him? And he's like, yeah, like I miss my brother or whatever. That's what my cousins were asking. I was just like, oh wow, that's his brother? And I was like, he's dead? So I thought, oh, maybe I just saw like, I don't know what I thought as a kid. I just remember not thinking about it anymore until like, you know, when I was like a teenager. Then I was like, oh shoot, like I think I saw that guy. So I'm gonna put on these rhinestones real quick and I'll be right back. I keep like leaving you, but I'm sorry. So I'm almost done putting my rhinestones. Tell me how you like my little makeup look. I'm not done yet. I'm still gonna add, I don't know whether to add lashes or not. The rhinestones I got from Michael's. They're just like these $3 little thingies for crafts, I guess. And I'm using like eyelash glue from the brand AOA Studio. It's like, it's working. It just smells so weird. I don't like the smell at all. It kind of smells like chemically. I mean, it is chemicals, but you know, there, finally. I'm gonna do some finishing touches on it. I'm gonna add some lashes because I kind of want like a little more drama to this look. And I'm probably gonna add blush, just like a little bit, like to, you know, she's blushing. And I'm gonna add the blush from this Patrick Ta. I used it in my last video. It's called She's a Doll. I just love the color. I'm not gonna use the cream side, I'm just gonna use some of the powder. So going back to my little story, I don't know what I saw or what happened, you know? Like I thought about it since then because I've been scared since then to get up or to go, when I was little, to go to my grandma's house and like to sleep there because I was like, what if I see that thing again? Like, what is it? I don't think this is the right brush to use. I think I'm gonna use a bigger brush. But I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. I've thought about it since, you know, then. Obviously, I think about it often, especially during Halloween time when scary stuff pops out, and I'm like, what was that? Like, what was that alien thing? Was it like, what the fuck was that? And like, why, you know, did my uncle, like, I think, you know, that was my uncle that showed up. And what, you know, maybe he was like protecting me from something as a kid. Like, maybe that thing was gonna like attack me or something. And he like called me to him so that way it did not attack me or something. I have no idea. But that was weird. That was one ghost story that I cannot forget. Like, I think about it a lot, and I'm like, sometimes at night I'm like, I'm scared that I'm gonna see it again or whatever, because I haven't seen it since. I've seen other weird things, but I haven't seen something like that since then. Oh. It would be nice if I put some glue on before I put my freaking lashes on. Okay, I do not like that lash glue. My lashes, look at how bad they are. I mean, you can't really tell because they're just sitting. So I'm just gonna fix my lash, put on the top. I have like a little hole gap, kind of show you the result. But yeah, that was basically like my ghost story. But I'll put on my stuff and I'll show you the result right now. So that's my little look. I have my little crown. I don't know if you can see it, it's so pretty. And that's the finished look. I bought these butterflies from Amazon, the crown from Amazon, and I have like some little flowers. I thought these were carnations, but they're not. I forgot what they're, marigolds. I have my little marigolds. For the look. But yeah, that's basically like my story, my ghost story of like what happened when I was younger. I mean, who knows what that was? Like, what if it was, I don't know what it was, and my uncle was trying to protect me and tell me to go back to the room, and like he dealt with it. I don't know, I have no idea. But like I think about it and I'm like, you know what, it's kind of comforting that something's looking out for you. So maybe that night my uncle was my guardian angel there in that situation, especially as a kid, because like I think about it, I'm like, what would have happened if like I just ran or like I stayed there? Like I think about that, I'm like, I don't know, like that's kind of scary. Like maybe I would be like missing or something. I have no idea. But anyways, that was my little story. I have a few other little ghost stories and stuff. And maybe I'll tell them maybe like in a short or something. But they're not really that long to make into like a long video. This one was slightly longer just because it had a little more details. But yeah, that's my little look. And I'll see you in the next video.